They were television's most unorthodox family once, a radical experiment in love, religion, and polygamy. Now, however, the Brown family of sister wives is in shambles. What started as a tale of sisterhood and togetherness has disintegrated, exposing a messy web of emotional distance, favoritism, and heartbreak. Christine walked away first. Sick of being ignored and dismissed in her marriage, she took freedom instead of invisibility. Soon thereafter, Janelle did the same, not wanting to accept a life in which she was anything less than equal. Then Meri, the first wife, the original wife who possessed the legal covenant to Kody, was emotionally left behind years before she was ultimately released. Now, Robyn alone is still married to Kody. The so-called obedient and preferred wife is left alone. But the question is, at what expense? Is it loyalty or something much heavier that holds her back in a relationship founded on the ashes of the others? For more than a decade, Sister Wives welcomed audiences into the Browns' universe, opening the curtain on a way of life seldom experienced. But now, it's exposing something much more disturbing, a cautionary tale about how control, resentment, and imbalance quietly eat away at a family from the inside out. The show once presented a picture of unity, 4 women, 1 man, and the belief that love could multiply rather than divide. Christine, Janelle, Meri, and later Robyn seemed to accept this unorthodox connection. But beneath the posed smiles and public professionals of sisterhood, cracks started to develop. What had appeared to be unbreakable started to crack. Love, which had been promised equally, was subtly substituted with favoritism. Communication disintegrated, tensions brewed below the surface, and eventually the bonds that kept this family together began to erode under the pressure of unexpressed resentments and unfulfilled needs. The Browns' tale is now more than reality TV story arc. It's a gritty, emotional examination of what occurs when vows given in faith collide with the brutal realities of human nature. Loyalty yielded to loneliness over the years, and the dream they pursued together became individual journeys of heartbreak. Today, the Browns are a family torn apart. Christine has discovered her new beginning. Janelle has regained her independence. Meri has encountered her own long-overdue truth. And Robyn holds on to what is left. The love multiplication experiment has been left with the lesson of what will happen when humans cease to really see each other. Initially, the Browns showed a strong image of strength, grace, and resilience in their polygamist way of life. Side by side, the wives raised their children, stood up for their decisions to a world that did not comprehend them, and asserted that their bond was indestructible. Together, they laughed, relocated across state lines to safeguard their family's future, and openly discussed jealousy, time management, and self-improvement. It was the image of a contemporary, unorthodox family committed to beating the odds. But take a closer look, and the cracks were always present. Subtle, easy to miss, but cumulatively growing. Over time, Kody's leadership started to change. What had initially been perceived as protective and equitable began to feel controlling, arbitrary, and self-serving. The promise of equal time and attention gradually disintegrated. Christine's effervescent spirit, which once brought warmth to the family, was becoming more and more met with frustration and dismissal. Janelle's independence, once envied, was now a cause for emotional distance. Meri felt on the periphery of a family she had contributed to creating, while Robyn seemed always to be the exception. The wife Kody would defend, protect, and keep closest among the others. And the audience saw. The questions started to mount. Why did Kody pull away so coldly from Meri following her catfishing debacle, yet have infinite patience with Robyn? Why did Christine feel like she had to struggle just to be noticed, much less heard? Why was a family founded on the premise of mutual love beginning to resemble suspiciously a monogamous couple hiding in plain sight? What appeared to be harmony was, in retrospect, a precarious balancing act, one that was bound to fall, and it did. Next up, the breaking points. One after another, the wives started asking themselves a question they never thought they would. Is it worth the price to remain in this life? For Christine Brown, those hairline cracks had expanded too far to be overlooked. Over time, what had at first been a warm, comfortable, and nurturing family home began to feel lonely and silently neglected. Viewers saw Christine, Once the exuberant, cheerful mother of 6 fade away. The woman who was the heartbeat of the family, it seemed, grew dim from years of feeling isolated emotionally and having needs not met. At first, the cues were subtle. In family gatherings, Christine would tactfully express her frustrations, seeking support, but her grievances were met with silence, uncomfortable stares, or hastily dismissed. She became the one wife willing to openly question Kody's choices, to question his growing favoritism and his increasingly uneven emotional investment in their plural marriage. Perhaps the most telling moment was when Christine was brave enough to confront Kody about the lack of intimacy in their marriage. Years of feeling ignored, not only physically but emotionally, came to a head. While Kody appeared to be obsessed with Robyn, Christine was struggling to get scraps of attention, investing effort into a marriage that seemed shallow and one-sided. In heartfelt confessionals, she spoke about her loneliness, her longing for real connection, and her desperate need to be seen and valued. "It's like he's just emotionally absent," she confessed in one raw moment, and those words hit a chord with viewers everywhere. But within the family, they appeared to go unheard. Christine's silent anguish only intensified as Kody became more preoccupied, more condescending, and less invested in bridging the growing chasm between them. As time went on, Christine began to doubt where she fit into the family. Was she hanging on to something that was lost? Could she continue to sacrifice her own happiness for a relationship where she didn't get her needs met? Even as she tried to keep the family intact, it was brutally apparent that Kody wasn't interested in repairing what was broken. And then, the straw that broke the camel's back, an instance during a crucial family debate where Christine was struck once and for all with the realization that she was on her own. Fasten your seatbelts, because what transpired next shook everything. The turning point happened during stressful family debates regarding their future accommodation plans. It was a discussion that should have united them, but instead pushed them further apart. For Christine, Kody's emotional absence in those moments, especially when it came to considering her needs, was undeniable. She felt invisible, like a guest in her own family. In one heart-wrenching confessional, she confessed, "I'm tired of feeling like I don't matter to him." Her choice to leave wasn't spontaneous. It was after months, even years, of emotional burnout, hurtful conversations, and the realization that she was clinging to a family that no longer had room for her. Giving up the polygamous lifestyle that she so fiercely supported wasn't a decision. It was survival. But Christine's departure did not signal the end of the disintegration. In reality, it was merely the beginning. Because shortly, it was the turn of Janelle to confront reality. And what she discovered would reconfigure the family dynamics all over again. Janelle Brown was always the reliable one, the practical, level-headed wife who humbly kept the family going. Her forte was her serenity, her capacity to balance her independence with fidelity to the plural marriage. But even Janelle couldn't deny the fissures for long. It was in the wake of the pandemic, when all order was disrupted, that Janelle came to realize the dysfunction. The family, which had been so brashly ambitious about creating a communal property and living as a single community, was suddenly bogged down in indecision and increasing resentment. What had promised to be a uniting crisis became a tangled, divisive fight over houses, property lines, and priorities. And for Janelle, a wake-up call. Next up, how the battle over household arrangements revealed the deeper cracks within the family, and why Janelle, who'd spent years holding the line, finally decided to speak up. As Kody's rules grew more and more strict, and his favoritism of Robyn more and more apparent, life in the Brown household became intolerable for Janelle. For years, she had been the quiet fixer, the one who sacrificed, adapted to constantly shifting living situations, and worked to maintain peace. But now, the emotional toll of it all had grown too much to bear. Each choice Kody made appeared to drive Janelle further into the background. And it wasn't only her who noticed. Her children, previously a central part of the family's routine, started to feel the bitter taste of unfair treatment as well. What was initially a team effort to construct a home for all of them had fractured into separate cliques, with Kody's focus and devotion limited to just one aspect of the family. Janelle began to question all of it. The family that she had battled to keep was now broken irrevocably. Kody's so-called rules of family were only further perpetuating the cracks. Seeing Christine finally stand up for herself, take her own happiness, and leave the life they had shared gave Janelle pause. If Christine was brave enough to choose herself, why couldn't she? In candid interviews, Janelle began to reveal a side of herself viewers rarely saw. The steady, dependable wife was growing restless. "I've been putting everyone else first for so long," she confessed. "I need to start thinking about what's best for me, for my happiness." Her bond with Christine, always strong, deepened during this time. The two women stood together, supporting each other as the common understanding of their histories formed a stronger sisterhood than the bonds of marriage they were leaving behind. Christine's action in walking out did not just trigger Janelle's self-reflection, it ignited her. For the first time in years, Janelle stopped stressing about maintaining a broken home and began picturing what it might be like to build one based on mutual respect, equality, and respect for herself. And although her awakening was slow, it was real. Next up, how Janelle, after years of devotion, finally faced the painful reality about the family she helped create, and what ensued when she chose herself over tradition. Stay with us, because this story isn't over yet. It was a transforming, life-changing moment for Janelle when she realized once and for all that it was time to put herself first. Finally, after years of compromise and quiet suffering, she started stepping into her independence. And by doing so, the whole Brown family dynamic was changed because once the peacekeeper begins questioning the peace, nothing remains the same. But if you believe Janelle's tale was tragic, Meri's could be the saddest of them all. Meri Brown's experience in this complicated, messy family has been one of profound emotional isolation and years of holding on to hope. She was Kody's first wife, the initial partner who assisted in building this plural family from scratch. But as the years passed, Meri quietly slipped into the shadows, emotionally discarded by both Kody and, in a lot of ways, the family itself. Their own relationship, strained and distant for so long, hit rock bottom during the now notorious catfishing debacle. In perhaps the show's most jaw-dropping plotline, Meri was manipulated into an emotional internet romance by a catfish posing as a man. Needy for human connection, she exposed herself in ways she hadn't in years and was robbed and embarrassed. The consequences were destructive. But the pain that hurt even more than the betrayal was Kody's cold, callous reaction. Rather than pity her vulnerability, Kody became angry, accusing, and unresponsive. Once this happened, any shred of connection between them started to disappear. Even in her sorrow, Meri remained. She kept attempting, time and again, to repair that which was fractured. In weeping confessionals, she uttered words of how much she wanted closeness, intimacy, and a feeling of belonging within a family that now regarded her as an outsider. Her devotion did not waver, even when it was evident Kody had emotionally checked out. For years, Meri held out hope that the relationship they once had could be rekindled. She cherished memories of a better time and hoped in her heart that with enough effort, they might somehow make it back together. No matter how many times she attempted to reattach, no matter how desperately she sought him out with needs for love and affection, he met her advances with chilling detachment. Kody's emotional distance wasn't temporary. It was now a constant presence in Meri's life. She freely spoke about feeling invisible, about no longer being important within the family they had constructed. It was painful to witness. Here was a woman who had given everything to her marriage, who remained loyal even when loyalty came at the cost of her happiness. And yet, time after time, she was met with rejection. In raw, vulnerable interviews, Meri confessed to the quiet ache of loneliness that never left her. "I feel invisible," she would say. "I'm just not a priority anymore." As the years went by, Kody's emotional distance from Meri wasn't merely apparent, it was absolute. He had much more or less stated that their emotional bond had ended. Meri, however, held on to hope, struggled for scraps of attention, for even the least indication that the relationship could be salvaged. But reality could not be denied. Her devotion, strong as it was, could no longer bridge the ever-growing chasm between them. The saddest thing wasn't that Kody had emotionally departed, it was seeing Meri remain, clinging to hope that hurt her more than it brought her healing. And as Meri's battle was raging, another tale was building, a tale that would upend the entire family structure. For as Meri, Janelle, and Christine were being pushed aside, One wife's relationship with Kody only appeared to intensify. Next up, the ascension of Robyn Brown and how she transitioned from the latest wife to the undisputed head of Kody's universe. Trust us, you won't want to miss this. As the years went on, one thing became impossible to overlook. While Christine, Janelle, and Meri struggled to find any semblance of connection with Kody, Robyn appeared to slip into a place of quiet authority in the family. What started as subtle changes all too quickly became overt signs of favoritism. And before long, everyone could see it. Kody's conduct toward Robyn became distinctly different. Her home was not merely a new spot on his circuit, it was the place to be. Family meetings drew to Robyn's home. The decisions that previously engaged all the wives started focusing on her desires and whims. And as the other wives felt invisible and disregarded, Robyn's position in Kody's life seemed secure. But here's where it became even more complicated. It wasn't merely a matter of logistics or convenience, it was a matter of power. Robyn's willingness to obey Kody's rules to the letter, being the mother of his youngest kids, and always being loyal in the end established an unspoken pecking order within the family. The others picked up on it, and they weren't quiet about it anymore. Frustration boiled over. Christine, in fact, spoke what so many viewers suspected, that Robyn wasn't merely Kody's favorite, she was leveraging her position to quietly influence decisions, often to the disadvantage of the rest of the family. In confessional after confessional, the wives revealed the double standards they lived under. Kody went out of his way to oblige Robyn's wishes while ignoring the needs of his other wives. Janelle spoke openly about feeling unsupported. Meri, long sidelined, revealed how obvious the favoritism had become. And Christine outright accused Robyn of manipulating the situation to her advantage, hinting that what once was a shared, equal lifestyle had quietly become a monogamous marriage in disguise. And coming next, how this escalating anger fueled the tensions behind the scenes and precipitated the final breakdown of the Brown family's tenuous union. Don't go anywhere. The most volatile moments are yet to come. The harmony that once characterized the Brown family was now a fading memory. What had been once a united unit held together by common ideals and love had become replaced with division, betrayal, and increasing anger. For the other wives, it wasn't so much feeling left behind. It was the fundamental betrayal of all they'd ever believed. The very things that had initially attracted them into this way of life were now destroyed by the ascension of one woman, Robyn. And while Kody appeared to dismiss the increasing worries by leveling charges of jealousy and misperception, it became increasingly obvious to all involved that the cracks were spreading, and quickly. Kody's ignorance, or refusal to face the reality, only opened the gap further. By this stage, the tension between the wives had reached its boiling point. But what made things even more explosive was Kody's last-ditch effort to control the narrative. As the family structure disintegrated, Kody was hell-bent on rewriting the script in his own image. In interviews, during those notorious couch moments, and in numerous interactions, he pressed the narrative that he was the victim, that the breakdown of his family was not in his control. His defensive choice? Blaming the wives for being unreasonable, especially Christine for wanting to leave. Kody didn't care about hearing their suffering. He didn't care about seeing things from their side. All he did was insistent on portraying himself as the victim, going out of his way to spin the narrative. And that was maybe the most shocking part. As Christine at last articulated her intention to leave, Kody's reaction was more about justification than comprehension of her pain. His response was revealing. Rather than sympathize, he steered the conversation toward his own pain, claiming that Christine was leaving the family behind. It was here that the glaring contrast between their emotional realities could no longer be ignored. Stay tuned, because this moment marks a pivotal shift in the saga of the Brown family. The walls have come crashing down, and we're just getting to the most shocking revelations yet. Don't miss what happens next. In a particularly memorable moment, Kody confessed, "I'm not sure I'll ever get over this," as he discussed Christine's departure. But here's the thing. His emotional response wasn't about recognizing Christine's years of quiet suffering. It was about his own loss, his pain. That moment summed up everything. It was Kody's refusal to see the real heartache he caused, instead focusing only on what he stood to lose. The consequences were unavoidable. What had been a family held together by a common vision was now shattered into pieces. Kody's desperate attempt to dominate the situation, combined with his inability to own up to his part in the collapse, guaranteed the ultimate breakdown. The once seemingly indestructible family was now a shattered remnant of what it had been. Looking back on the Browns' journey, one thing is certain: the emotional toll of favoritism, power struggles, and unchecked egos was too high to overlook. What was once a beacon of an unorthodox, New Age family gradually disintegrated under the burden of unmet emotional needs, unexpressed hurt, and a struggle for control that no one could possibly win. The personal cost to each wife, Christine, Janelle, Meri, and even Robyn, is a poignant reminder that even the most public of relationships can hide private pain. Christine's courageous choice to leave, Janelle's eventual realization of her own value, Meri's quiet and persistent struggle for connection, and Robyn's complicated role as Kody's sole focus have all been interwoven into this painful, emotional story. So what do you think? Was there any way the Browns could have saved their family? Or was the breakdown inevitable? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single chapter of the most dramatic family breakdown on reality TV. So, what do you think? Was it possible for the Browns to save their family? Or was the downfall really inevitable? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here or haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for TLC's Wives Show. Stay tuned as we keep digging into the highs and lows of reality TV's most unforgettable families.